Well, good morning, everyone. It is, what is it? It's going to be Tuesday, March 31st, and we are ready to have our second video on lesson 92. And I'll summarize our homework for tonight in the end of the lesson. But let's go ahead and dive right in. This is called percent of change, and this is going to be our last ratio box type of problem we're going to deal with this year. Yes, the very last type. Now, percent of change means we're going to have an increase or a decrease in percent. Alrighty? So that's the only two options, an increase or decrease in percent. So a sale is a decrease in percent. A markup is an increase in percent. So let's go ahead and look at four different types of problems real quickly. Let's talk about just a sale, okay? Now, if we have a sale, let's look over here. Let's say we are buying something at a regular price of $24.50. But then we notice that there's a tag that said it's on sale for 30% off. So I want to find out what is the new price of this item after the sale discount. So what we're going to learn how to do today is to create a ratio box, which I call the OCN ratio box. So I'm going to call this an OCN problem because it's an increase or decrease in percent. So the way we do these ratio boxes are a six-section box, So I'm going to go ahead and do my 6 sections. We have another 6-section box where we've done ratio totals, but this is for percent of change. Now I'm going to put percent up here instead of R for ratio. And I'm still going to put AC for actual count over here. Now, on the left, we're going to start with the original percent and the original actual price. Then here will be the change. This is the change in percent. And then this is the new. Now, I don't want you to have to write original change new every time, and so we will just use OCN. OCN problems, original change new. Now, with an OCN problem, the original percent is going to be different, okay, than what we're used to. In the old type of percent problems, we always put the total percent down here, and our total percent has been 100%. But when we are changing of the original percent, what we're going to do is 100 is going to start at the top. We're starting with 100%, and we're going to increase that or decrease that. Well, this is a sale, and so we're going to decrease it because the price is going to be cheaper. So I'm going to put a minus 30. Okay, I'm decreasing the percent. And now my new percent is 100 minus 30 is 70. Now, where does the price of $24.50 go? Well, that was the original price before the sale. So I've got $24.50 is the original price of the item. And I want to know now, what is the new price? What is the new price? So I'm going to put an N down here. They might ask you how much is marked off. That would be, what is the change? How much is marked up? How much is it marked down by? But we're wanting to find the new price. So let's go ahead and write a proportion here. We've got 100 over 70 equals $24.50 over N. Okay, now we want to go ahead and do this calculation. And I think what I'm going to do is, in this case, I'm going to cross multiply. So I've got 100 times N equals 70 times $24.50. I just cross multiplied. Now we know from isolating our variable that to solve for N, we can divide both sides by 100. So I'm just going to cross through that, and now we're going to calculate our new price. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to cancel. I'm going to cancel a 10 in the 70 and in the 100. Now, what have I got here? I've got 7 times $24.50 divided by 10. Well, I think what I'm going to do next is go ahead and divide this decimal number by 10. If I do that, the decimal point will go to the left 2 places. So I'm going to divide by 10 and make this $2.45. I've just divided by 10. Now, how am I going to find my final price, my new sale price? It's simply going to be, I'm going to do my calculation over here. $2.45 times 7. So I'm going to go ahead and do that calculation right now. 7 times 4 is 28, 31, carry the 3, 14, 17, 15. Now, my new price is $17.15. That is my new sale price of the item. Now let's try a different one, because there's several different ways we can set these OCN problems up. Students taking algebra increased 20%. 60 students take it this year. How many took it last year? All right. I've already done my OCN box, and I automatically put 100 as my starting point. This time, we have an increase as opposed to a decrease over here. So I'm going to put a plus 20 right here. And 100 plus 20 is 120. Now, the question is, where does the 60 go in the actual count column? Well, 60 students take it this year. How many took it last year? So this year, 60 is the new number of students. Last year is the original number of students. Now, I don't like to put an O here. It looks like a 0. So what I do is instead of an O, I make it an X. Think of tic-tac-toe, O's and X's, okay? So I'm gonna make that an X because I don't wanna put a 0 there. That'd be very confusing. So now at this point, I can make my proportion again. 100 over 120 is equal to X over 60. Now, let's be really smart about this. Do you see, if I look right here, 60 times 2 is 120, okay? Or you could think of 120 divided by 2 gives me 60. Well, let's go ahead and do 100 divided by 2, and what do I get? I get my answer is 50, and the answer is 50 students. Now, if you have, and you should have, gone into My Math Assistant, you will know that you don't have to write tag words anymore, because when you enter your homework in there, they have the word students, and it is so nice for you. All you have to do is enter in the number 50. Now let's go and look at a couple more problems real quickly on the other side here. And let's look at this type, because these can be kind of tricky. Bikes are on sale for 20% off. Tom bought a bike for $120. He bought it at the sale price. How much money did he save? Okay, this is a little tricky. Now, what do we know here? The percent is 20% and it's a sale. So I'm going to I started with my 100, I already filled that in. I'm going to subtract 20% and my new percent is 80. Now, where does this $120 go? Is it the original price, or is it the new price he bought it for, the sale price? Yes, it's the new price, and so I'm going to put it down here, 120. And then how much money did he save? Not how much the bike originally cost, but how much did he save? In other words, what was the price deduction on the bike? Now, or what was the change in the price? So I'm looking this time for the change. Okay, now do not put 20 with a negative sign. This just minus sign shows us that we had to subtract 20 to get the new percent of 80. So we're just going to go over here and put 20 over 80 equals C over 120. And let's go ahead and cross multiply. I've got 80 times C equals 20 times 120. I'm going to divide both sides by 80, and I think this is going to be a nice way to cancel here. And let's see what we can do. I'm going to go ahead and cross out my 2 zeros here, get rid of my 10s. I'm going to cancel 2 and 8 and get 1 and 4. And then 4 goes into 120 30 times. And so I have an answer. How much money did he save? He saved $30. So that's what the price deduction was on this item. It was marked off $30. If we really wanted to know how much it cost originally, we could add $30 here to 120, and we know that it originally cost $150. But they didn't ask that. They asked for how much money did he save? What was the change in the amount of money? Now, this is the last comment you might see. A store bought shirts for $15 each and marked them up 80% to sell at retail. What was the retail price of the shirt? So let's just assume this is Old Navy, okay? Old Navy has a factory that they get shirts are made at the factory, and Old Navy buys a shirt for $15, and then they mark it up and they sell it to you, okay? So what we're gonna do is figure out what are you gonna pay for the shirt after Old Navy marks it up and puts it in the store to sell to you. So OCN, we have a change in percent. We start with 100% and it's marked up 80%. And so when we're marking it up, we know that that's adding 80%. It's an increase of 80%, and we have 180. Okay. Now, what was the retail price of the shirt? Oh, I got to put in the $15. What is the $15? It was the original price of the shirt before the markup. Now I want to find out how much I'm going to have to buy it for, or you, in the store after they mark it up. So I want to know what is the new cost of the shirt. So I'm going to have 100 over 180 is equal to 15 over n. Remember, I don't need this middle section anymore. Okay, now let's go ahead and cross multiply. I have 100 times n equals 180 times 15. Let's divide both sides by 100. Let's go ahead and cancel where we can. We can cancel out our 10s. 15 over 10, they're both divisible by 5. Let's divide them both by 5, and I get a 3 and a 2. And then 18 over 2, I'm going to cancel that one again. I'm a cancel queen today. 18 over 2 is 9 over 1. And what am I left with? 9 times 3 is $27. You and I are going to pay $27 for a shirt that they bought for $15 from the factory. But that's how Old Navy makes money. And that is how we do an OCN problem. Now go ahead and get your homework sheets out. And we're going to go ahead and do 2 problems from the homework right now. And then we'll talk about what you need to do to complete the rest of your assignment for this evening. All right. Okay, now that you've got your worksheet out, let's go ahead and look at problem number 6 and 7. I've already circled a keyword here, underlined a keyword too. If you read the problem, it says the population of Houston increased about 25% from 1990 to the year 2000. The population was 1,600,000 in 1990. What is it in the year 2000? So I've underlined the word increased and I've circled the word was. And those are going to help us figure out where these numbers go. So we know that it's an increase. So we have an OCN box here. And it's going to have 6 sections, percent, actual count. And the great thing about increase and decrease in percent word problems or OCN problems is you always have the same label on the left side. And we always label first, original, change, and new. Okay, do you remember what goes in the original box for the percent? It's always the number 100. So we'll put 100 here. Now let's fill in the other numbers in the word problem. It increased, the population increased 25%, all right? An increase in 25% is how did it change? And it went up. So my new percent is going to be 125%. I put a plus, but it's an increase. So it's a decrease, it's an increase. Okay, now, okay, well, the population, I'm getting ahead of myself. The population was 1,600,000 in 1990. What is it in the year 2000? Okay, was, is, original, new. So this is the original population, and you know what? That number's so big, I'm gonna make my ratio box a little bit wider, and I've got 1,600,000. And now I want to know what is the new population after the increase. Okay, now Let's go ahead and write our proportion. We've got 100 over 125 is equal to 1,600,000 over n. Oh my, big numbers, but that's okay. All righty, I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. I have 100 times n equals 125 times 1,600,000. And I'm dividing both sides by 100 to isolate my variable. And my new population is going to be this after we simplify it and do some computation. So I see here I have 100. I can cancel out 100 in the denominator with 100 in the number 1,600,000. And so now I'm going to have to do a little calculation here on the side. I've got a 1, a 6, and then 3 zeros. 1, 6, and then 3 zeros, or 16,000, because I knocked off 100 when I canceled right there. And then I'm going to have to multiply that by 125. Okay, let's all do that on our worksheet right now. I'll do it over here, you do it, and we'll compare answers, okay? Oh my, I've got a big number, but it's population, it's going to be big. I'm going to put my commas in here, and I see that I have 2 million, and what's my tag we're going to be? 2 million people. So I've got 2 million, and I'm going to put my tag word there, and I'm going to go ahead and box it. And there is our first homework OCN problem. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. Number 7, the price of oranges increased 50%. I think what happened here is they had a cold snap, and so they had to increase the price of oranges by 50% in 1 month. If the price after the increase was 75 cents each, what was the price before the increase? Okay, so we have an increase, and so we know it's going to be an original change new percent word problem. Percent, actual count, original, change, new. We know to put 100 in the original. Let's fill in the numbers. We had an increase of 50%. Let's go ahead and put a plus 50 there. Now, new percent, 150%. Okay? Let's go ahead and figure out where this 75 cents goes. Let's look for some keywords here. The price after the increase was 75 cents. What was the price before the increase? So 75 cents is the after. That is the new price after the increase. What was the price before? We're looking for the original price before it was marked up. So remember, we don't put an O here because it looks like a 0, and that would be too confusing. So we change our O to an X. Tic-tac-toe, O to X. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do our proportion. We've got 100 over 150 is equal to X over 75. And I see something special here. I can take 150 and divide it by 2 to get 75. So on the top, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take 100 and divide it by 2, and my final value is 50, and we're talking about cents. So the original cost of an orange was 50 cents before the cold snap. Okay, so those are your 2 new concepts. Let's go ahead and talk about our homework for today. Okay, so you are going to finish on your worksheet doing lesson 92. And there's always 2 things you do for me when you are reporting your score to me for your homework. Okay, the first thing you do is you're going to go into mymathassistant.com and you're going to enter your answers. Okay, and you have an infinite number of times that you can enter in those answers. If it gives you a red square, you can go back and try it again and try it again. If you tried it, multiple times, you can leave it wrong. That's fine. Or you can ask for help, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Now, you must also upload a photo to Lesson 92 in LMS. Okay, so I have to have two things. I have to have your score in my math assistant, and I need to see your work. Okay? So you will not get credit for the problem until I have both of these components every day. Okay? The other thing is you're going to go to khanacademy.org, and there's going to be a quiz of the day. So go ahead and do that quiz of the day. And then new development today. We're going to have, excuse me, I'm getting a phone call. We're going to have a Zoom meeting today, okay? I'm going to have the invitation is going to be on the class wall every morning. And 7A, you are going to meet with me from 1 to 1:30. 7B, we'll have a 2 to 2:30 meeting. What is this meeting for? Homework help. It's purely optional. Nobody gets a grade for it, but if you're stuck on some homework problems, you can join the meeting and let me know what you need help with. And we'll work some problems out on the board just like we do in class. Okay? So get working on Lesson 92. Put those answers into mymathassistant.com. Upload that when you're happy with the homework and you feel like you've done the best you can do. Upload a photo of it to LMS under the Lesson 92 tab, and then go to Khan Academy, look for today's date, and do the quiz of the day. The ones this week I made pretty easy. Okay, and don't forget, you can join us in that Zoom meeting at 1 or 2, depending on which class. So have a great day, and I will see you at the Zoom meeting. If I don't see you then, I'll see you Wednesday morning. Bye-bye.